Yet another day of trying to dispense the truth. I've been trying so much to just go live and try make this thing become a reality. And I've decided that this time round, I'm going to make sure that I put my best foot forward. Because at the end of the day, it's all about dispensing the truth and speaking the truth of Christ and speaking the truth about relationships. That is what I really want to dispense. And I just want to talk about something that many people are finding it difficult, especially in our generation. And that is why in this particular moment, I just want to let us know that we are in a place of getting to, you know, losing so much, especially in relationships. And today I just want to talk about something. I'll go straight to the point because, this is one thing that I just don't want to waste time on it. Because many people are not willing to come out of the situations they're in. And that is why I just want us to be a part of a journey whereby we are going to grow together, become a family, so that we are able to see the truth in all that we are going to share. So today I want to talk about modern relationships. Why do modern relationships keep on failing? Why do modern relationships fail? And what is the reason of many people are trying to get into relationships, but they are not receiving the energy that they're supposed to? I'm just looking at the points popping up because I'm really trying to put things into perspective so that we are able to just grasp the truth thereof. So this particular moment, I just want to share about this, why modern relationships are failing. What could be the reason? What could be the essence of it all? Why are people not getting the message of how relationships are supposed to be done? The other day I was just listening to this story from some strangers out there, and I got something that was so painful. There was this woman who was getting married to this man, and they had paid, they did a very good wedding, a very big wedding. And in this very moment, the woman didn't recognize that the very wedding that was happening, there was an agenda behind it. For her, she thought she was getting into marriage, and she's already won, and she's going to win. But for the man, he had his own ideas. What happened basically in that relationship is that how big the wedding was, it was not how big the marriage will be. So the wedding ended at the end of the day, but marriage did not happen because the man had plans to take over the properties of the lady. And you see, these are the reasons, part of the reasons as to why many people are not getting into marriage, into relationships. And I think it's proper for us to get into a place of understanding that there are things that we need to do, things that we need to understand so that before we get into marriage, things that we are supposed to outline, principles we need to set so that before we get into marriage, those are the things that are going to build us. So I want to talk about why modern relationships are failing. One of the reasons that I've found that is so common is lack of emotional maturity. Have you ever gotten into a relationship with someone and every other day they're snapping, they're getting mad over simple things? When you express your point, it feels like your point means nothing. And they will fight your point, they will walk over you, they will crush you, making you feel like nothing because they feel like your point does not make sense. Because they lack that stability in their emotions to derive some things. So this is one of the person you have to discover early before you get into any relationship, so that you are able to stand in the place of truth. Because marrying someone because of how they look, marrying someone because of how they dress, the cars they drive, the properties they have, it does not make any sense. Because marriage is not about all those things, as much as they are important, as much as those things are required. You have to understand that when you're getting into marriage, you need someone that is stable in their emotions, in their mind, someone that will grow with you, not based on how things are, particularly materially, but because of who you are as a person. So it is important before you get into marriage, you get into any relationship, that very relationship you're building, you have to be mature enough to do things the way they're required. Because most people enter relationships without healing past traumas, without getting rid of what happened to them in their past. And one of the things that also people don't know, when we get into relationships, we bring who we are. We carry, that essence of who we are into that very relationship. So you have to be very intentional before you get into it. Because building a strong relationship requires emotional stability. So emotional immaturity, that is one of the things that has made many relationships to fail. So we have to know that unresolved trauma leads to projection, insecurity, fear of abandonment, or control issues. Those are things that we need to discover as early as possible so that we are able to walk a journey that will build something that is fundamental in our relationships. So lack of emotional immaturity is one of the things that has made people lose the interest of being in relationships. So another thing is the fear of vulnerability. Fear of vulnerability depends where you went to school when it comes to mentioning vulnerability. So the fear of vulnerability, people don't want to be in a relationship whereby they feel like they're vulnerable to their partners, they're vulnerable to their spouses. And that is why it becomes difficult. It becomes a challenge when trying to build something with someone that you can't be vulnerable to. So many are afraid of being seen fully, and that is why they hide who they are. They get into marriage pretending that they are quiet people, that they are jovial people, that they are extroverts. But at the end of the day, what they are hiding their true self. They are pretentious. They don't want to express the true self, the true selves in that relationship. And that is why we see such people, they use their emotions. They tend to lie also with how spiritual they are. And also, they try to dictate things to be based on, on how they think it is right based on themselves. But it is important for you to understand when you get into a relationship, you have to be in a place whereby you can be vulnerable to your partner. And it begins by you building trust. It begins by you building a stronger foundation in that relationship, in that marriage. It is profound. So before also you get into marriage, you have to consider so many things. You have to take responsibility to understand that before you conquer any other thing, you have to conquer yourself. You have to deal with yourself before you get into that marriage. So it is a discipline that requires an intention that comes from you prioritizing the reality of what it entails to be in a relationship. So marry someone that you can be vulnerable to. The other point is instant gratification culture. We are used to fast everything, fast foods, replies, gratification, but deep relationships take time, effort, and patience. I want to talk about that instant gratification culture. You're in a relationship and you want your partner or your spouse to deal with situations as fast as you may desire. You want that relationship to work as soon as possible. When you want something to be done, you want them to do those things that you desire very quickly and very easily. But it doesn't happen like that. A good relationship takes time and it takes effort. You have to build it and do it on the basis of doing it right and patiently waiting for your partner to grow. And it takes time. It is not a matter of just putting food in a microwave and then in the next 3 minutes you remove it. No, it takes time. So you have to ensure that you partake in a journey that both of you will build it in a way that is responsibly done. So it is all about trying your level best to do it the right way, to cultivate that relationship, not based on just your emotions, but understanding. Knowledge is required to do so. So instant gratification culture is what has made people to lose the respect of relationships, the respect of love, the respect of marriage. And it requires that both of us, all of us who desire to be in marriage or in relationships, to cultivate it and do it respectfully, realizing that there are things that are not done by you fighting and fighting for it in a way that is not required. So you need patience, you need to take time, you need to build that relationship in a way that is required. The other point is romanticizing expectations. You romanticize everything. You've seen people who are getting into social media. They want their partners to post them each and every day. For them, it's a way of showing love. If I post you today, if I do it the way I'm supposed to do it, they want social media to glamorize everything. But I want to let you know, the lifestyles that are shown on social media, most of those things are not true and they are not definite. So it's for you to understand that if you want to build something that is constructive, you need to be in a place of understanding how relationships work. So if you over romanticize your relationship based on the expectations you have, it will not work. So it's upon you to take responsibility and understand the nature of what the two of you desire. Because you get into marriage or in relationship not just based on love, but you get into it based on understanding the true purposes of that relationship. So people who keep on trying to show their relationships on social media, posting each other, most of these people, they are not true to themselves. Most of these people, they just want to show the other side that people don't know. If you really desire something that is noble for your relationship, you need to build it in a way that is a relationship that is built on a certain level that is called maturity. And it's up to you to realize that if you want to walk a journey that is profound, you need to make the best, the best of the steps to do it. Because relationships are not fantasies. You cannot get into a relationship fantasizing of something that does not exist. It takes work. You need to build it on work. And the other point is sexual intimacy without emotional depth. So people bond physically without building emotional safety or trust. So what is the essence of you getting into a relationship? And the only thing you desire, you desire is sexual intimacy without emotional depth. You need to know that person. You need to have a relationship with your person each and every day. You need to take steps whereby you will understand your person without fighting them. You need to be in a place whereby you're growing together, working together. You've built your trust together. This causes confusion when you don't do it the right way, because you want to sleep with this person, but you don't have a relationship with them. You want to walk with this person in the journey of this life, but you don't have a relationship with them. So it's up to you to take responsibility and understand that you require a journey that is based on knowing the true nature and the purposes of your relationship. So sexual intimacy requires, that emotional depth, knowing each other, understanding each other, and walking a journey that will build your relationship. The other point is transactional thinking. Many treat relationships like business deals. What can I get instead of what can I give? This selfish approach leaves no room for sacrificial love. That is what people do. Look at the relationships nowadays. People are getting into relationships. People are getting into marriages nowadays because of what they can get. Just like the story I began with. People are getting into such relationships because, this is what I'm getting from this relationship. This is what I'm getting from this marriage. If this woman is not going to give me this, I'm not going to get into it. And that is why many relationships are ending. And I believe marriages can be built on something that is fundamental, something that is godly, structured in a way that will make it strong and futuristic. But when two people get into it and they don't know how it should be, the question is, how will it be in the future? So the other point is hyper individualism. The I don't need anyone mindset glorifies independence to the point where interdependence, the basis of healthy love, is seen as a weakness. Interdependence, hyper individualism. Someone gets into the relationship and they think that it is all about themselves, about them. Everything that is done in that relationship, it's all about them. But it's never like that. A relationship is based on two people. People that are willing to work on it and do it in a way that is profound. So when you're getting into a relationship, it's not about that you don't need anyone. You need your partner as much as you need yourself. You know that like the good verse or the good proverb or the good words that say, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So you have to love your neighbor also as you love yourself. So you need your partner. You need someone to walk in this life with. You need people. So that woman or that man that you want to get married to, you need them. But you need people that are mentally equipped and mentally well, mentally healthy to have a relationship with. You just don't need to you don't need to work in a relationship whereby you're just struggling each and every day. So number 8, or the other point, is poor communication skills. Poor communication skills. Many relationships are ending because of this point. Poor communication skills. Women don't know how to express themselves to their husbands. Husbands don't know how to speak to their wives. What happens? It is a struggle even to understand one another. Issues are coming here and there, but people are not getting it right because they don't know how to communicate. The only thing they are doing is talk. So at the end of the day, what happens? There is nothing that is productive that is built in that relationship because there is a lack of communication. And it is proper to understand when you're getting into a relationship, you have to walk and do it the right way by understanding that the reality of it all, it's all about communicating, not just talking. Because we have people who are just talking in their relationships and they are not expressing the true nature of how things should be in that relationship. So you need to understand and need to be in a place whereby you recognize that your partner needs you to communicate, needs you to speak those words and speak them diligently. And the other point, even as I conclude, misalignment in purpose and values. Why do you want to get married? Why do you want that person in your life? Many get into relationships without discussing deeper things like vision, faith, goals, and values. Attraction without alignment leads to conflict. So you're getting into marriage, you're getting into a relationship, you're calling that person your boyfriend and your girlfriend. Why do you want to be with a boyfriend? Why do you want to be with a girlfriend? What is the essence of you being in that relationship? Is it going to lead to marriage? Do you want to know this person? Is there a purpose as to why? Do you know what they long for? Do you know their values? You need to be in a place whereby you're walking a journey that will enable the both of you to work things out. So you need to understand the person you're with. You need to actively discern what your person longs for and what you really desire for that relationship. So it's important for you to be in a place of doing it the way it's supposed to be done. It can be good but not right. So misplaced priorities will bring a conflict in that relationship. So you need to be in a place of aligned purpose and values so that your relationship can grow. So the last point is no spiritual foundation. So people are getting into relationships, doing this thing called marriage without even knowing the nature of their persons spiritually. Because we are getting married to people who are not mature spiritually. And when you get into such a relationship and you're trying to build it, what happens? If your person is not in a place of understanding spiritual maturity, you cannot even align yourself with that person. It will be difficult because they will not understand. You'll keep on fighting a war that you cannot win. If they are not willing to partner with you, to walk with you, journey with you, do what we call spiritual growth with you, they cannot lead you to a place of growth. So you need to ensure that the person you're getting married to, they have a foundation that will journey the both of you into the place of truth. I want to talk also about some few things as I conclude what we can do instead. These are just bonuses. You have to prioritize healing before dating. You have to prioritize healing before dating so that it cannot be a cause of failed marriages and all that. The other point is build emotional intimacy before physical intimacy. The other thing, communicate clearly and consistently. Date with purpose, not just for attention or validation. The other thing is seek God's guidance and be led by wisdom. Thank you so much for this moment, and I appreciate the fact that you took time also to just listen to what I'm talking about. I'm going to do more of this as we grow into this and make this better as we journey together. Thank you, and thank you so much. Until next time.